Well, hello everyone, welcome to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada for round 7 of my F1 2012 career mode in Season 2. I am Lovesbuds, and today my objective is to finish first, and this is my Q3 lap, and my objective was to finish 11th after my really bad performance in Monaco, so the team are not expecting too much from me this time round. So I've already met that objective, so any place to get now is good enough for the team. So going around here, that's not too bad way of going around this first corner, is trying to get a DRS open as soon as possible, managing to hold it actually open through that corner, which sometimes I can't do on other cars, so hopefully that's double DRS system coming into play, because it definitely felt more stable than the Williams last year, and I'm not exactly using any particular setup this time round, so no, it obviously is better, seeing this is a higher tiered team as well. So, second sector time is 45.4. Everyone else is out behind me, so I've got no time to compare it to at the moment. So whatever time I set now is the one I'm going to stick with, because this seems to be a half decent lap. Plus, I need to save my tyres, so that's the main reason for just doing one lap. Unless it's a really poor lap, then I have to do another one. But this one's looking okay. It's a 1:15.4, and on professional level, that means first place by 0.2 of a second. And as you can see, it actually started raining towards the end of that session. Lewis Hamilton following close behind in second, then Alonso, Button, Schumacher down in fifth, Webber, Maldonado, Grosjean, Vettel, and then Perez. That rounds off the top 10. So everyone in the top 9 or so, separated by around a second. And look at that gap in the middle between 3rd and 6th, all within a 1/10 of a second of each other. Close racing. Engineer just reminded me to bring home a better result than last time. Yeah, that should be hard to do. So got a pretty good start. Moved over to cover the line from Hamilton, who might have made a move into the first corner, but I held him back quite nicely. May have braked a bit early into that corner. I always get a bit confused. Well, not confused. I sort of overcompensate because I'm always going in there at high speed. I should probably try and find a way of practicing a start to go in there at the optimal speed, so I don't lose too much ground. But it does counteract with the fact that the AI are actually a bit slow on the first lap, as you can see. 1.5 seconds behind already. So the task now is to build up as much of a gap as I can, because as you've seen in the first 5 races at least, Monaco doesn't really count because it was so bad. You've seen how bad the performance of the tyres gets after when it reaches the end of its life. Well, when it gets a bit of wear on it, not necessarily the end of its life, because I think these tyres go a lot longer than a diagram tells me, or when the tyres go orange, I mean, on display. But yeah, I'm not quite good enough to keep it on track at that point, especially in the Mercedes. Still maintaining the gap at the moment. It's still 1.5. I think they might start to catch up to me soon. But I think Hamilton and Alonso have a little bit of a fight over these next couple of laps. So keep your eyes peeled for the changing positions, which only helps me because if Hamilton's driving defensively, he's not catching me up. As you can see, Alonso's around about half a second behind him, but he's now 2 seconds behind me. I've got clear air, I've got no one attacking me from behind just yet. So I should be pretty safe for now, as long as I keep it on track and on the correct racing line. I have to say my driving did improve slightly after Monaco. I do like this track. It's not. There's a couple of corners that I can be a bit dodgy on, but I think I'm sort of getting better at them now. So this is one of my better tracks, along with Silverstone and Hockenheim. That's a good track for me, definitely in Germany. But it's still, obviously, you have to see how I do in those races. But they're obviously my best best chances for a win, the tracks that I can do well on. So at the moment I set the fastest lap of 1:19.025. Let's see if that gets beaten. No, it doesn't look like it, so actually pulling away from them. Alonso has got past Hamilton, as I thought he might do.
You have a 4-second gap to the car behind. 4 seconds.
Which is now a 4-second gap to Alonso. The McLaren's not dominating as they were in previous races on this track. I don't quite know why, because McLaren seems to do well here, or at least they have done in the past few years in the real world, but Alonso has decided he's going to come through and take positions. Just remains to see if he'll be a threat later on, but I definitely seem to have the measure of Hamilton this time round. Still a long way to go now. Coming on to lap 4 of 18. They're short laps, so that's why you've nearly got about 20 like Monaco was. In a lot of occasions it does tend to make the races longer, so I don't know why they have to put so many laps on it, but still, it's all good fun. But yeah, nothing much happens from now on. Maybe a couple of slides here and there, if you're lucky. If you do, they probably appear in a montage at the end of the season. But yeah, Lotus launched their car yesterday at 7:15 in the evening on their YouTube channel, and it looks like a pretty good car. Yeah, first impressions are good, apart from two things. They didn't need the red on it, the little red colours on the top of the car and on the side pods, and that bloody step nose is there, which I absolutely hate. I can't stand the step noses, but if it works for them, then so be it. I was kind of hoping they put the so-called vanity plate on top of it, but if it's fast, then I'll forgive them for it. Bit of a smash into the wall. That probably would have ended my race if the game was more of a simulation than a arcade game. But yeah, first impressions of the E21. It seems like a good car. Make some proper judgments on it when it comes to testing. Schumacher setting the fastest lap for 1:17.8. He's flying. It looks like he could come through the field, but he's got a little bit of clear air in front of him, I can see on the map, so he's able to set a good time. But I'm sort of picking up the pace a little bit, maintaining the gap to Hamilton about 4 seconds. So well, I might lose a bit there because I went a bit wide going into that chicane. But we've got control of the situation at the moment. We've got a handle on it. And we should be coming to the pits sometime soon. Next couple of laps. Yeah, gained about half a second there. But still, Hamilton and Alonso are fighting it out for that second position, as Hamilton has retaken second. So they are still fighting away. And he could get past now, actually. He's in the DRS zone. Let's see if he actually made it past. Doesn't look like he did. No. We'll keep an eye on that one. And Webber in 4th there as well. But the gap is now back up to 4 seconds, so that's all good. Bit of a slide there. Had to go on the brakes there, so that lost me a bit of time. Some slides I can correct just steering. Others I do need to slam on the brakes pretty sharpish. Otherwise you do end up losing it. And that's pretty much how I correct all my slides, really. Unless, if it's something that can be handled by steering, I just steer in the opposite way. Seems to sort it out. Ease off the accelerator a little bit. And if it's going to turn into a really bad spin where I could end up facing the wrong way, all you can do in this situation is put your foot on the brakes and steer in the opposite way anyway. Opposite direction seems to work every time, so even though in the real world it would completely nacky your tyres, this is just a game, so It works every time, and you can still be competitive. Come around here again, nearly going into the wall. Just about holding it on. Right, so the car launch I can't wait for is McLaren's on the 31st, on Thursday. I've always liked the McLaren cars, I always think they look beautiful. I think their 2012 car looked absolutely stunning. But yeah, that one's going to be revealed at 10:30 in the morning. So I assume a lot of you people will be at school or work, or the equivalent. There we go. There's the slide. I expect that's going to be appearing in the montage, especially after the one I did last year up the road here, which is on this corner. But I'm a bit more careful around this corner now than I was last year, so less likely to slide, I think. Again, there. Yeah, as I say, most of you will be busy at that time. I will probably be... I'll be staying up, actually, thinking about it. It'll be my last night at work before my weekend off, which I'm going up to London to see a few friends before Mr. Jamie, who is one of my mates, all the way back from school. He's going to go off travelling, off to Canada and Iceland and Costa Rica and everywhere, and he's going to swim with a shark or a slug, whatever one it is. I don't know. I'm sure he'll end up somewhere funny. But yeah, not only that, it's my my brother's 40th birthday and my nephew's 2nd, so it's a busy weekend ahead. It's going to go past like a blur, and now I'm going to be back at work as soon as I know it. But hopefully it will go well, and we'll have a good time. But yeah, talking of the McLaren launch, yeah, you look at my tyres, they're absolutely terrible for 8 laps in. That's what the Mercedes does to these things. But yeah, I'll be staying up after work while coming in the morning. Play a couple of games in the morning, actually. No, actually I won't. I know what I'll be doing. I will be attempting to upload a video. Because it'll either be tomorrow or Thursday that you'll see the next round going up. That's what I'm aiming for, because obviously I can't do it Friday to Sunday. So it'll either be tomorrow or Thursday that we see the next video going up, because I won't be here, obviously. But yeah, definitely on Thursday I'm going to stay up and watch that launch. Hopefully it won't go on too long, because I would like to get some sleep. I mean, the Lotus one went on for a while. 45 minutes of it was actually sat there staring at the Sky Sports screen, waiting for the thing to start, so that was a little bit odd, still.
Okay, it looks like the car ahead is trying to create a gap. He's running full revs, maximum power.
Grosjean's trying to create a gap. Talking of Lotus. But yeah, this is the pit stop phase, obviously, as you might have seen. The top 4 are going into the pits now, and I'm just coming onto the start-finish straight. And I should get back into the lead quite easily. I think they're all coming out now. Hamilton is definitely out of his box. Schumacher has moved up to 4th. Webber is in 3rd. I don't know what happened to Alonso. He must have got held up in his pit box. No, Alonso is definitely in 3rd. So actually, he pitted in with me. I didn't realise that. I completely forgot. So he's back where he was, pretty much. about 1.7 seconds behind Hamilton, who is a further 1.5 seconds behind me. So back to the status quo really, and win first position on lap 10 of 18. Yeah, recently I bought a new game for £2.50 or so called Race 07. Now it's a sort of simulation car racing game from Simbin, and it's sort of based off the World Touring Car Championship. I haven't played much of it yet. I've only really recently just brought it, and I went around, done a couple of laps of Brands Hatch, and I have to say the steering wheel that I have works extremely well with it. The steering wheel I bought for 20 quid, and there's hardly any input lag whatsoever. At most it's probably a microsecond. There is lag, obviously you're always going to get that until they develop some sort of technology that cancels it out. But it actually does react how I want it to, unlike how the steering wheel works in 2012, where I can't actually adjust any of the advanced settings whatsoever. So that's pretty useless. It's undrivable at the moment. Not to mention the fact that my living room is not designed to have a steering wheel, because I've got a coffee table that's just a bit, yeah, and you know what a coffee table is like, it's too low. So I have to take the drawers out of the coffee table, put my feet inside, and although it's pretty much the same position as a Formula 1 driver sits, it's extremely uncomfortable. So it doesn't really work for me, so I have to stick with the control pad for now. But as I say, going back to this game, Race 07, it's on Steam and it has been for a while. It was released back in 2006 or 2007. I expect it was 2007, 2008. They sort of released a lot of DLC along with it, and you can get the whole Sim bin pack of all those games and all the extras for like 28 quid. And I picked up I just picked up a couple of them for about a tenner or so. And the main game itself is £2.49. It's an absolute bargain, but it is a great driving game so far. I do love the handling. It actually feels like it doesn't feel floaty or anything. You actually have to go around corners quite carefully to maintain the traction. It could definitely learn a couple of things. Codemasters could learn a couple of things from it, especially the working mirrors, because the mirrors on that game are absolutely superb. You can actually use them, and also the TV replay camera angles are pretty good as well, and you can have custom camera angles on the TV replays. I keep saying TV replays. When you watch yourself back, you can actually have a free floating camera and you can position it wherever you like. And I wish that Formula 1 had that in this game. That would be absolutely amazing. But at the same time, it's a different engine, whereas in that game the cars are all rendered going around the track. You're simulating the track as one. In this one, it only sort of renders and simulates in the general area. It simulates the whole track, but the bits you can't see, like the cars going onto the pit straight now, they just exist in a bubble, just to save on processing power and all that jazz. It'd be amazing if Codemasters could end up starting to use a new engine somewhere down the line, or if another company takes over the license, they start using a new engine, because it would be absolutely awesome to be able to watch other cars going around the tracks. Maybe that'll be a thing for the PS4 when it comes out, or the Xbox 720, whatever that's going to be called. But for PC users, we already have the technology. We can run these games at high spec, which is quite unfortunate, because I do believe the consoles hold the PC games market back, in terms of its graphics and capabilities, especially on games that are multi-platform and just ported to one console to another piece of hardware and they don't change it.
There's a gap of 3 seconds between you and the car behind. See if you can increase the gap.
But yeah, I've forgotten where I am now. I've sort of gone off on a tangent again, as I usually do sometimes. Yeah, you can always dream. Also, I forgot to mention in the last video, I've seen an extremely tiny piece of F1 2013 footage. Well, it's not footage, really. If any of you have subscribed to the Caterham F1 channel, whatever it's called now, I can't remember, you can actually see a 5-second clip of Codemaster's rendering of Charles Peake's face, and it is incredibly detailed. If that level of detail is in the next game, I would be impressed, but I assume console users, the graphics will be reduced somewhat. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting to see how the way they used the green screen and took a photo of 360 degree photo of his face and then rendered the model on like that. It was interesting to see his face taking shape. It does look really good. Let's just hope it carries on into the game itself. And I know a lot of people are in general are kind of disappointed with the F1 games from Codemasters. There's always something that they can't do, or they haven't implemented. The realism isn't there for some people. But it's kind of hard to make a game that appeals to all audiences. I mean, they have to sort of make it arcadey, but not too arcadey. And I understand that, but I think Codemasters can be better than that. It's just that I think they are heavily limited as to what they can do, and time constraints as well, of making a game every single year, making tiny improvements. I think people just probably expect too much of it. But to be fair, for a licensed game, it's probably the best we've got at the moment. If you want proper driving simulation, you're going to have to find it somewhere else, like iRacing and other such games that are out there that are actually equally good. But if you want the graphics, if you're a graphics person, then you probably want to go with this, which is unfortunate, because I suppose if the other things had even better graphics, it would probably be a bit more popular. But there's only a small section of the crowd that are really, really into their simulation games, and I'm just getting into them, and I'm quite enjoying them because I thought I'd be absolutely terrible at them. I mean, Race uses the same engine as iRacing. No, not iRacing, it's R-Factor, the first one. It uses the same engine, so I thought I'd be pretty terrible at it. It turns out I'm not actually too bad. I mean, I could be better, but I could be a lot worse as well. But yeah, you can't always please everyone. Unfortunately, that's not the sort of world we live in. But as this game stands, it is still pretty good, even though everyone moans about it, and even I moan about it. Even I have problems with this bloody game sometimes, especially with the weather and the grip levels, but it's still a pretty good game. Just, you don't want to get too annoyed with it that you actually stop playing it for ages and never touch it again. And hopefully I can complete 5 seasons for once. Because I think I started F1 in 2011 too late to be able to do all 5 seasons anyway, since I only started doing F1 videos last year, actually, last January. and the game had already been out a few months before that anyway. So I was a bit stuffed. I don't think I had a lot of time last year as well. Well, I don't have a lot of time now, but I think I have a bit more than I used to have. And I've got a lot more hard drive space now, so that definitely helps. I can stack up the recordings and hopefully get them out quicker, like I said in previous videos. But anyway, enough of that. I mean, I'm sorry if any of that discussion was, or my thoughts were pretty dull. But unfortunately, when you get races like this, when you're at the front and there's nothing really going on, I have to find something to talk about. But now there is something going on. I've got Alonso right up behind me. He's got the better of Hamilton and has left him behind in clutches of Schumacher, who's attacking him like mad. So he might come through to take last podium slot anytime soon in DRS zone. You never know. Now, I've flicked it up to rich fuel mixture again, and I've only just got the low fuel indicator warning. And look what happens. I run out of fuel, and I do something a bit dodgy here, and I block Alonso more than once, which probably could have got me a penalty for illegal blocking. But we finally got our win. And I wasn't going to let Alonso come through and take that, that's for sure. Even if I would have got in trouble in the real world.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's the double. Pole and the win.
But finally, the pole and the win. About 27 races started, and I've finally done it in the Mercedes. It's a great weight off my shoulders now, because I was hoping for that win to come sometime soon. I wasn't quite expecting it to happen here, but I was in a good position. I was feeling good about the circuit. Had decent enough grip levels. The tyres held on just long enough, but then my fuel ran out, which I didn't really get any warning about, which is annoying. But still, never mind. Bruno Senna was the only one not to finish. Force India down the bottom there. Yeah. Not much else really.
You in third position in the Drivers' Championship.
Now, as you can see, the Drivers' Championship is getting rather tasty. Lewis Hamilton on 103 points, Jenson Button on 102. I'm on 93, not even far behind that. Only 10 points off Lewis Hamilton, and Schumacher is right behind me on 79. And Alonso is coming up as well, he's on 78. So it should be a pretty interesting title challenge if it carries on like this for the rest of the season. And yeah, there's the rest of the drivers. Vettel languishing down in 11th for some reason. He's having a crap season, that's for sure. No change at the top as well, because McLaren Mercedes 205 points, Mercedes on 172. It closed the gap slightly, 33 points behind now. So if we manage to get a 1-2 and McLaren don't score any points, we could take the lead of the constructors. But that is highly unlikely, considering how fast that McLaren is this season. But you never know, still a long way to go. Not even to the halfway point yet. So here we go, celebrating our first ever win in F1 2012. And next stop is Europe. More specifically Valencia for the European Grand Prix, round 8. I'll see you then.